Hello guys, it's Charjr Ryuki, and welcome back to Narcissu Chapter 3, The Map. My time was at a standstill. I piled useless trivia. Wow, that is loud. I am so sorry. Wow. That is loud. My apologies. I piled useless trivia upon useless trivia, drew information from the TV and the TV alone. And soon nothing was real anymore, fading away into a hollow space. But I loved looking at maps. Trains, cars, I loved things that could take me places. I spread out maps on top of my narrow bed, changed routes over and over and over. Sedans, coupes, convertibles, rode on so many different kinds of cars. The number one route, continuing on forever, I ran on that road forever and ever. Indigo blue skies, beautiful coastlines. I ran until I came at last to these places sketched in my dreams. Slowly tracing past the arc of a cape, running on the white sand of a beach, the sun to my back. If I but closed eyes, I could go anywhere. Toward landscapes that I had never seen with my own eyes, longing for the soil upon which I could never hope to tread. My useless stockpile of trivia was the only thing that increased. All emptiness, all the colors of yearning. January 21st, 2005. The sky after the rain. The high-flying clouds streaming by at knife-edge speeds. The unique swishing sound of tire on wet asphalt. And through it all, there we were, driving along as always. No destination, just a desire to keep going, no matter what. It wasn't as if I was looking to go to Awaji Island at all. We didn't even have the gas money to get there anyway. But I drove straight ahead on an unfamiliar road, even as I thought these thoughts. But where are we? I was forced to wonder. I didn't know my geography very well to begin with, and I was seeing all sorts of place names I didn't recognize. I had planned on driving until the ends of the earth, but with the GPS navigation system broken, I had no idea anymore. And before I knew it, I started looking around anxiously at the street signs as I drove. I don't know at all. What? Well, I don't know where we are right now. She said something to me, and I'd given her a casual response, because she probably wasn't going to know even if I asked her. Iruma District, Saitama Prefecture. What? The next right leads to the 16 route toward Hachioji. You knew all of this? Did you happen to live around here or something? No, nothing like that at all. It was a surprise. No, it wasn't just surprising, it was nothing short of a miracle that she knew the roads to this detail. Because no matter how I looked at it, she didn't seem to have driven around all that much herself. Then, could it be? Do you know the way from here to Awaji Island? I don't understand why you're asking. Well, you see, we might be able to get there on normal highways without having to get on the tollways. And we might just have enough gas money to get us there. Do you want to go there? Well, no. That's not what I meant. Then don't ask me. With those words, she fell silent. And she turned to face the window with a frosty demeanor, as ever. But she wasn't looking at the passing scenery. It felt like she was staring at something in an unreachable distance. Her. Don't ask me. Then don't ask me. Just what the hell was that supposed to mean? How would she have replied if I had told her that I was planning on going? We simply continued on. No purpose, no aim. It wasn't as if we had a plan or a schedule from the get-go. We just didn't want to die on 7F or at our oh-so-fake homes. But maybe I alone, must have wanted something to show us the way, no matter what that way might be. January 22nd, 2005. Bitch! It's a bitch. Look at all the ocean. Oh, pretty. It's cold. So it is. Some beach whose name I did not know. We'd reached the sea before we'd known it. I'd been planning on heading west, but somehow it looked like I ended up going south. A pitch black sky and a coldy, windy waterfront. We both got out of the car and stared at the darkened sea. She stood apart from me as usual and stared into the distance, where the black sky and ocean melted into horizon's edge. And after seemingly taking in the view of the ocean for a while, she slowly started walking toward the beach. Hey, what do you think will happen? Now, I've got no idea what you're talking about. Do you think I'd be able to die at peace if I just walked into the sea? Those were her words. As she slowly walked into the sands, her back turned to me. The third time was the end. There was no fourth time. The choice was between dying on 7F or dying at home. Apparently no one had escaped this choice. Those were the words that she herself had spoken to me. And yet, on her second time around, she told me that she didn't want to die on 7F or at home. This was after she explained the rules to me, after her duty to me was already over. That's why I felt that this is what she meant. I don't know. I've never drowned before. Then, if I walked into the sea right now, would you stop me? I would. That's me. I definitely would. If you're planning on that, what she means, then yeah, I'm gonna stop you. She turned her head to look at me as she said this, with the moon rising in the dark heavens as her backdrop. Just picture this. Just picture this moment. And her gaze, which had always been so far away, was directed straight at me. I don't know. I'd have to see when the time came. Now, for someone who is unsure, that's probably the closest thing you could say. if you're unsure of what you would do. That's probably the closest thing you can ever say. But is that the right thing to say? I guess so. She then turned her back to me and slowly started walking toward the sea once more. Hey, tell me, what is it? Do you want to be stopped? Upon hearing my words, she stopped, short of the waves. A strong wind kicked up, a spray that beat against her feet. If you want to be stopped, then I'll stop you. Not really. That's not it at all. Then it'll be fine if I don't stop you, right? There was no reply to my question. But her feet did not move any further either. So that was her answer then and there. The high heavens of winter, blue and clear almost to the point of morning. Strong north winds beat against the electric wires overhead. The silver coupe reflecting the blue sky on its shining frame. With me at its wheel and with her in the passenger seat, as per usual. I didn't know where this was, but the real problem was that we were going to run out of gas soon. We didn't have that much money to begin with, and after various convenience store purchases, we had even less. Only about 7,000 yen left. And of course, I had no idea how many liters this car took, but we'd probably had enough money to fill the tank once. We still didn't really have a destination or anything, but we didn't fill up. We could not go anywhere anymore. I'm going to fill up on gas. I see. And with that, I turned the steering wheel and drove into a gas station that was coming into view. Welcome! Will you be paying by credit or cash? Cash, please. Regular or premium? Regular? Premium? I had no idea. Well, then again, I had no idea about anything in this car. On top of that, it had been a long time since those driver license classes. Which one would you like? Well, there I was at a loss for words, and there stood at the gas station attendant waiting for me. And then, just as I was about to answer at a random, because I didn't care which one of the two, she spoke from the passenger seat. Regular, please. Huh? Oh, okay. Regular then. Okay then, regular, full tank, paying with cash? Yeah, that'll be all. Okay then, thank you very much. The attendant skillfully began his operation with those cheerful words. The strangely disagreeable smell of gasoline wafted in from the window that I opened roughly 10 centimeters. Hey, are you sure that this thing takes regular? She said nothing at all to this, then just pointed at the prices list. Oh, so that was it. It was cheaper this way. I didn't understand it very well, but I didn't think there was much of a difference in the price. And then I saw the gasoline meter, the number of liters being displayed. 25, 26, 27, 28. The numbers were going by at an incredible speed. Maybe I'd made a mistake. I began to get a little worried as I watched the numbers climb. I told him to fill the tank a while back, but I didn't have that much money on hand. Even with the coins, I only had about 7,000 yen, and of course I had no idea how many liters this took. What was I going to do if I didn't have enough money? I did some quick calculations and realized that after 60 liters, I wouldn't have enough. 38, 39, 41. The numbers kept climbing without slacking a pace at all, and I became more and more worried over something I usually didn't give a second thought to. Damn, How many liters does this thing take? I'd let the words out before I knew it. Don't worry, it'll be over soon. Huh? This has a 50-liter tank, see? And just as she said, the gas line meter stopped between 47 and 48. The sound of a receipt being printed out, and then the attendant at my window again. Thank you for waiting. The total comes to 5240 yen, 5,240 yen. Oh, okay. Here. I took out a 5,000 yen note and a crumpled 1,000 yen note from my pocket and handed them to the attendant. Alright then, your change comes to 760 yen. Here's your receipt. Thank you for your business. I turned straight onto the road upon hearing the attendant's cheerful voice. The silver coupe now in motion once more. On the bright side, I was no longer worried about running out of gas. On the not so bright side, we only had about 2,000 yen left. This worried me, but there was something that preoccupied me much more. Hey. Question. Could it be that you're an expert on cars too? Not really. What do you mean, not really? You knew that this car took 50 liters of gas, didn't you? Of course, it may well have been that this kind of thing was absolutely common knowledge that I didn't have. But she'd proven that she was an expert on these roads not so long ago. Having been caught by surprise twice now, I took out the vehicle specification from the glove compartment. And of course you know that make and model of this car as well, don't you? Is that a question? You could think of this as a quiz if you want. Integra Type R Coupe. Correct. And the specs? 99 model year, 5-speed, max 200 horsepower. I had no expectation that she'd actually answer. I almost involuntarily followed along on the vehicle spec sheet as she rattled off figures with total disinterest. Length 4,380, width 1695, engine displacement 1797 cc. Do you want me to go on? No, it's alright, you're correct. I put the vehicle spec sheet back in its place. I couldn't believe my ears, but she nailed every single specification. I didn't think one could just memorize these things, and I couldn't even venture a guess as to why she had. But right before my eyes, she had gotten every single spec correct. And thinking back to the roads and flowers, I was getting the impression that she knew a lot about a lot. Good description there. Knows a lot about a lot. Okay? Hey, just why do you know so much about everything? That's what you should have put on the other line there, but... It's nothing. It's just that I'm older than you. And with that bare response, she went back to her usual silence. With her staring out the window again, I didn't find myself able to throw any more questions at her. Older? It really didn't look that way at all, but this was something she said before too. Her name was Hatsumi. Her blood type was O. Those were written on her ID or white ID bracelet. There was very little indication to show me that she was older than me at all. Around when the sun started peeking out from under the clouds, the silver coupe speeding along. No destination, no place to go, just running forward. No more worries about gasoline, but no more money either. Only about 2,000 yen left. Only enough for 3 to 4 more days at the most of a convenience store food. Alright, so now what do you want to do? I have no idea what you mean by that. I mean that we have no more money left. And so? Look, you. Her appearance as unchanging as ever, and this conversation we were having while eating rice balls bought at a convenience store not long ago. Finally, the fact that even if we were driving along like this, we were using up a gasoline little by little. Maybe it might have been better to just stay still without doing anything at all. But it wasn't possible for me to stay still without doing anything, without shooting for anything. And I kept driving with those feelings at heart. If we just kept driving on normal highways, we'd run out of gas in about 3 days. Likewise, we only had enough for 3 to 4 days worth of food with the 2,000 yen we had left. We were obviously going to become too poor to do anything soon enough. Hey, do you want to try going to this Awaji Island? No reply. She just kept staring out the window as per usual. I think I might want to. Why? Well, it wasn't as if we'd escaped from 7F with any goal or destination in mind, because east or west, no matter where, anything was fine with me. But maybe that's why I wanted a goal, a destination, because anything was fine with me. Around when the daylight had given over to the darkness of night, I had stopped a car in the parking lot of a pachinko parlor. Obviously, I wasn't planning on winning any money through pachinko or slots. I knew that there wasn't much I could do on just 2,000 yen alone. But if I were skillful enough, I just might be able to swipe 10,000 or 20,000 yen. That was my guess, based on the many times I've been to pachinko parlors in the past. So you have experience for stealing. Oh, okay. If I only had that much, we'd be okay in the first place, and we might even be able to get to Awaji Island on that amount. And so, I told her about the plan that I had just thought up. How about it? Want to try it out? No. Okay, very well. I'd expect it, but she'd shot me down immediately. I hadn't hoped that she'd cooperate with me in the first place, and I told her about my plan as a fait accompli, not because I wanted her aid in it. Alright then, wait here. I got out of the car and strode into the pachinko parlor alone. It was more crowded than I thought. Lots of pachinko balls, lots of people, and more importantly, cash boxes crowded everywhere. As good a place as any. And thinking this, I headed over to the slots machines. I inspected them from the corridor for a while, and after having finished my survey, I focused on one set of machines. Lots of middle-aged salarymen, alright, up to 4 boxes at their feet, and up to 2 on racks above them, and an empty stand separating each of them. From what I'd seen before, these men hadn't come with an acquaintance or friends. This satisfied the requirements. Perhaps in a place like this, no one would notice if I swiped one of the cash boxes. Of course they would. Cameras, and in a store like this, each one probably held 20,000 yen or so. And with just that much, I just kept waiting there for one of the salarymen to go to the bathroom. And after a while, after roughly 30 minutes had passed, a salaryman finally stood up from his seat. After I tailed him a bit to make sure he wasn't going to the bathroom, I dashed back to the stand that he had occupied. and watching the people who were hitting the slots at the attendants, I slowly approached the stand. Then, so as not to raise any suspicion, as if it were the most natural thing in the world, I swiped one of the cash boxes underfoot. That moment, coins scattered everywhere with a thunderous noise. I'd been meaning to pick it up. No, I really had picked it up, with my very own hands. But then they were unable to bear the weight, and the cash box crashed onto the floor. Everyone turned in my direction to see what the commotion was about. I got the feeling that someone was shouting, and I got the feeling that someone was running towards me. But that was all behind me. I'd already bolted and was less than 2 meters away from the entrance of the establishment by then. Failure. I put the engine in ignition in a hurry and floored the pedal. And when I spun the wheel to make my hasty getaway, just then... Ooh. Eek! I'd run against the curb or something as I turned to make my getaway. Thus, the horrible crushing sound. But I accelerated onto the road before me without giving it at all second thought. My suddenly constricting, out-of-breath chest and a silver coupe speeding out of the daylight and into the darkness. I was concerned about the crash a little while ago, but I had to distance myself from the place now. Idiot. And soon, after 10 minutes of this, a fair distance away from the pachinko parlor, I stopped at some roadside and started to get out to inspect the damage. Are things okay? Yeah, it doesn't look too serious. She sounded slightly worried as she called out to me. I answered her as I inspected the damage. There was just a bump in the rear fender and a small crack in the muffler. Didn't look as if there would be any problem driving like this. I let out a sigh, somewhat relieved. That sucked. Of course it did. Stealing is not right, no matter how bad your situation is. But, if you're in a desperate situation, would you do what he did? Or what she did? Pretty sure the character is a he, because if it's about the girl Satsumi, and she, in the last episode, got out to change clothes, she wouldn't have bothered to get out to change if she was with another girl to change, if she was with a girl. So it's obviously she's with a guy. Shut up, phone. I thought back at what had just happened at the pachinko parlor. You were noticed by everybody. I'd slipped up there, but I had been a little more skillful. I might have pulled it off, or stronger. And the reason I wasn't able to hold on to the cash box was because it had been a while since I lifted something heavy, which means you still thought about it, and you didn't think about it, you just did it. Should have waited if you were to where you were stronger if you're going to do something like that. With that illness tearing at you, it weakens your body, so if you don't do something to keep some strength going, when it comes to lifting something, maybe it's something as this, it could be something so hard to do. If I held on to it with all my strength at the outset, I might be able to make it. So you miscalculated. Yep. Huh? The current you can't do what the former you could have. She spoke as if she had seen straight through me. Yep. Yep, I was right. Ha! That's a woman for you. Always knows when her boyfriend or husband fucks up. Fangs up. Oops. But that kind of weight. So it's best not to think of it the same way. Perhaps she was right. I didn't want to admit how changed I was. Fair enough, I hadn't anticipated at all that I could grow this weak. Then, what should I do? No answer. Eyes turned into silence toward the window to stare into the dark night sky. This was probably the way she was telling me to give up. But why give up now? And that is the end of chapter 3. I want to thank you guys for watching. Obviously, the character here had totally messed up. He didn't think he was that weak. And he went and tried to steal some money to benefit the both of them in the long run. And it didn't work out. And she's still an untalkative type. She's just going, just waiting for that time before she goes, you know? She's like she's already given up, but yet still doesn't want to die just yet. She's quite unsure what she wants to do. She knows she's going to end up passing at some point, and so does he. But it does. She's just not ready. She's not ready at all. And how can anyone be, especially if you're a kid? Even if you're a young adult, how can you be ready to just pass on? To just go? But with that, guy, that's the end of chapter 3. I am Charjr Ryuki. I want to thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next time. And don't forget to bring the nachos. Peace.